No, but
as
can
they
you
are
give us a
available to the
specific
public.
amount that you think the government has set aside for the vaccine project? There was some talk of how maybe the ask was 80,000 crore rupees for this vaccine rollout. What is the quantum of resources the government has set aside? Is there clarity
See,
on that?
what happens is, in terms of pricing of vaccines, that is a matter which is negotiated with multiple groups and agencies. India is very fortunate that because of the manufacturing in India, the costs are much lower than what they are in the West. For example, in the West, typically costs would range from the tens of dollars, and here they would range in a few dollars per vial. And therefore, those costs are much more reasonable than what is there internationally. So I can't tell you the exact figure, but it'll be something which India can afford, and certainly the government will set aside.
We have 1.3 billion plus people in this country. Dr. Vijayraghavan, how many do you think will need to be vaccinated? Are you looking to vaccinate the entire population in the first phase? You're looking at 30 crore people being vaccinated. What is the end point of this project? How many people in India will need to be vaccinated?
I'm glad you asked this question because this is a very important scientific question. There are multiple parameters involved. First, properties of the vaccine. How effective is the vaccine in the field? So that's a certain number which should be judged as vaccines are rolled out. But that also relates to how infective the disease is. That's an intrinsic property of the virus. And there could be strains which are more transmissible or less transmissible. Thirdly, the transmissibility is also a property of how we behave, how close to each other we are, what distance we keep, whether we wear masks or not, how distributed our population is, our demography is. So all these parameters add up to a input into equation from which one can calculate what level of vaccination is needed to acquire vaccine-derived immunity. Given the situation with the virus and how worrying changes are already taking place in some parts of the world and reaching everywhere else, I would say it's very important as vaccination progresses. It's just started, it's not yet actually started. We must put in place all the other measures to increase distancing effectively by wearing masks and other non-pharmaceutical interventions so that vaccines are very effective even as viral strains might become more transmissible.
People who are watching will wonder, should I get the Bharat Biotech vaccine? Should I get the serum vaccine? Should I wait for Sputnik 5? Should I wait for Pfizer or Moderna? Especially Pfizer is the best known of these pharma companies. How do you look at this question about choice? What's the difference according to you between the Bharat Biotech vaccine and the Serum Institute vaccine? And would you, for example, rather wait for Pfizer to come to India and then try and get hold of a Pfizer vaccine?
We must understand what the authorizations are. The current authorization for serum is for emergency use in specific kinds of contexts. The authorization for Bharat is slightly different. It requires a calibration of the context a little more carefully, where there are potential dangers of other vaccines or new strains being troublesome. And then the other third set of vaccines like Pfizer and Moderna are not yet in India. I would say in summary that if a vaccine is made available to you in a public immunization program, you can be assured that it's gone through steps which are safe, there is immunogenicity, and there's efficacy. And we should have no hesitation in taking that.
No, sure, I hear what you're saying, but even you don't know at this time what is the efficacy of the phase 3 of the Bharat Biotech vaccine. The trial is on, the efficacy data hasn't been made public, and since the trial is on, the efficacy data isn't final. So yes, you're saying Ram Bharose, Bhagwan ka naam leke, have faith in us and take the vaccine, but like I know, for example, that in Moderna and Pfizer's case it's 94.5, 94, in one case it's 90 plus, in the case of serum it's 70 plus. In the case of Bharat Biotech, I don't know. So yes, I do, and I'm sure many people will relate to this. We do believe in the idea that you have to get a vaccine, but are we rushing the process too much?
Well, you must again read carefully what the drug controller and the health ministry's statements are. They basically say that the Bharat Biotech vaccine will be given in situations which are carefully monitored in a sort of clinical trial equivalent context, while the third phase clinical trial is independently going on. So those efficacy results will come, they will be evaluated, and an authorization, should everything go okay, will be given. This current situation is for a state where the decisions are being taken in case there is a serious situation which warrants their administration. So you're not going to see, unlike the serum situation, it rolled out in that level to frontline workers and healthcare workers. And by the time that phase is complete, we're going to see results from the Bharat Biotech third phase trials, and we will know where we stand. And all indications are that one can have an expectation of success there, but until that is over, it's not over.